Welcome back to Collectability. Today we have the pleasure of discussing this superlative and early reference 605 HU that was made in 1941 and originally sold April 13th, 1942. This watch is one of the earliest examples I've ever seen of this reference, including the pieces I've seen at the Patek Philippe Museum in Geneva. If you haven't seen it already, please go to the owner's site on Patek.com, and you'll see a video that I had the pleasure of doing a couple of years ago, specifically on the reference 605 HU, on the history of this reference and Louis Cottier's indelible imprint on the history of horology, and specifically with Patek Philippe. So this particular example, as we discussed, is quite early because Cottier made 3 examples in 1940 of the 605 that were delivered to Patek Philippe. And these first examples have center seconds, and they also have these like pyramid-shaped bow above the pendant. This 605 represents one of the first 5 delivered in 1941 that feature the 605 shape and the reference that we know so well with the bow pendant and this absolutely stunning World Time layout that has become what we expect to see of a reference 605. In particular, you see the hands that were cut, believed to be directly by Cottier himself, with that round hour hand, which became the basis for the reference 5130 hour hand and 5131 hour hand. Louis Cottier had a workshop based in Carouge, Switzerland, about 15 minutes from the center of Geneva. And in this tiny workshop, which is now a restaurant, you could actually go inside his workshop and have dinner. And this workshop is where, with his able hands, he was able to make these superlative references and delivered them directly to Patek Philippe for assembly. Now, this example is quite interesting because a close look shows that it has some things that you don't see with later 605s. Most notably and most importantly, the sun and the moon. The moon is spectacular. I'm looking at a high-res picture of it right now. You'll see, you can't tell if he's smiling or if he's frowning. It's almost Mona Lisa-like in its artistry. And it's a subtle and whimsical style to have these on the earliest 605s. By the mid and late 1940s, 605s did not have these hand-engraved elements, simply had polished button indicators of applied gold. The sun was also engraved by hand, and you'll see this bright sunshine to indicate the day. Another nice part about this watch is you can see the subtlety of night and day, where later on they used a dark black. And this has this almost a subtle gray to indicate the passing of the night. This particular watch was last seen at auction on November 14th, 1999, over 20 years ago. This exact piece had an estimate of Swiss francs 40,000 to 50,000, and it says it was from an American collector originally, which is quite interesting to know the provenance of the watch. It's presently preserved in the same condition as found, and it's wonderful to see it resurface again. Now, looking back at the history of World Times, there were 95 605s made by Cottier in his lifetime for Patek Philippe. The majority were made in yellow gold, a handful in rose gold. And the most desirable watches, wow, it's tough to decide. There's just such a plethora of choice within the 605 reference. But these early ones hold a special place in my heart with the way that they have that hand-engraved element. So with this watch, in terms of its condition, its historical importance, and price point under $100,000, it remains a piece that belongs in an important collection, and it's Collectability's honor to present it to you today.